The second big idea was that I always thought that the things I needed to get my work done were more time, more money, more freedom. It seemed like that's what I need to be really creative. And what I found, though, is that when I put these restraints on myself, making a skull, making it every single day, making it for an entire year out of different materials, different ideas every day, that in fact the restrictions of the project are what made it accomplishable. And so I've learned to embrace those restrictions. Now for me, that could be the restriction of working with a bicycle chain. You know, that's a certain length, it only moves in certain dimensions, it's got a lot of restrictions to it, but I was able to make a skull out of it, and then I discovered I could make a different skull out of it, and another skull out of it. And so what seemed limited at first ends up being lots of options, more than I would have expected. The next big idea is a simple one, but it's important. You know, the least creative place you can be is where you're currently working, and I don't mean your company, though maybe it is, but just the desk you sit at, the type of work you do, it can be, you know, the same day in and day out, and new ideas aren't going to come from sitting in front of a computer, no matter how long you look at the internet. So really what I recommend is that get away from it, as you know, at least once a day, even for just a few minutes. For me, during my project, I was getting up and going over to another desk and working with my hands. But I also made myself get up entirely away from my desk into a whole other space very frequently. So on this day, for instance, I was traveling, so I was in a hotel room, and I had that as my environment to work with. What could I do there? I didn't know I could work with a sheet, and I was surprised by the results, and it was a fun thing to do in an unusual circumstance. And it got me thinking about differently about how I could work in the environment I was in.